The morning sun glared through my kitchen window, but all I could feel was cold. My hands shook as I scrubbed the counter, the scent of Leo's cologne still clinging to my skin. I had just returned from his house. My husband, Alvin, had left for work an hour earlier, oblivious. The guilt was a knife twisting in my gut. But how had I gotten here? It started with harmless jokes. Sheila, Deborah, and I had been friends for years, bonded by school runs and suburban boredom. Our Tuesday coffee dates were sacred. We talked about everything, our husbands' flaws, our fading youth, and other things. Black men are built different, Deborah had whispered once, her eyes gleaming. I saw it in a movie. Sheila laughed, but her cheeks flushed. I said nothing, though my mind raced. Alvin and I had been married 20 years. Our love was steady, but predictable. Then Leo moved in. Tall, confident, with a smile that made you forget your name. He was a freelance photographer, always traveling. The neighborhood buzzed about him. At a block party, Sheila dared me to flirt. Just to see, she said. I did. Leo's hand brushed mine and my pulse spiked. The first time I went to his house, I told myself it was curiosity. Just coffee, I lied to Alvin. But Leo's living room felt dangerous. He asked about my life, my regrets. When he kissed me, I did not pull away. Afterward, I cried in my car. Sheila and Deborah had their turns. We never spoke details, but our knowing glances said enough. Deborah looked younger, her laughter louder. Sheila bought new lingerie. I stared at Alvin during dinners, wondering if he sensed the rot inside me. One night, after wine, we joked about sharing Leo. All three of us. Deborah slurred. Why not? It sounded insane. It also sounded thrilling. The day it happened, I almost backed out. But Sheila's text pushed me. His place. Noon. Don't chicken out. Leo seemed surprised but eager. Shame burned me for weeks. Then I made a mistake. I told Alvin we should spice things up. Maybe surgery, I hinted. He frowned. I am what I am, he said. His calm hurt more than anger. Now, I stand in our empty house, clutching my wedding ring. Do I tell him and destroy everything? Or live with the lie? The knife twists deeper. Somewhere, Leo's camera holds proof. Secrets never stay buried here. Weeks passed, but the memory of that afternoon with Leo, Sheila, and Deborah haunted me like a ghost. I scrubbed my skin raw in the shower, but guilt clung tighter than soap. Alvin noticed. He began watching me over his morning coffee, his eyes narrowed as if I were a puzzle he could not solve. I stopped wearing perfume. I stopped laughing. My hands trembled when I hugged our teenage daughter, Emily, fearing she might smell betrayal on me. Sheila and Deborah, though, thrived. Sheila dyed her hair jet black and started jogging past Leo's house each dawn. Deborah hosted wine nights, giggling about adventures while her husband traveled. I envied their boldness. I hated it. One evening, Alvin reached for me in bed. His touch was gentle, familiar. But when he kissed me, I flinched. What is wrong? He asked. The concern in his voice shattered me. I mumbled about headaches. He bought me roses the next day. The text from Leo began innocently. Need help picking curtains? Women's advice? I deleted it, but my pulse raced. Sheila and Deborah pressured me. One last time, Deborah begged. We will stop after. I knew it was a lie. We met at Leo's on a Tuesday. Alvin was at a conference. Emily was at soccer practice. The house smelled like incense and danger. Leo grinned, pouring wine. To curiosity, he said. We drank. The room spun. Later, Sheila's phone buzzed. It was her husband, Rick. Where are you? He barked. She silenced it, laughing. But the mood cracked. We left in a hurry. That night, Alvin came home early. I was folding laundry, Leo's scent still on my wrists. Alvin stared at me. Your phone buzzed, he said slowly. A message. From Leo. Ice flooded my veins. Leo had texted. You forgot your earring. Who is Leo? Alvin asked. His voice was calm, but his fists clenched. A neighbor, I stammered. Debra's friend. She borrowed earrings. He did not believe me. He slept on the couch. 2 days later, Sheila called, hysterical. Rick had found her gym bag. Inside, a man's silver bracelet engraved with Leo. He thinks it is mine. She sobbed. He is calling everyone named Leo in the phone book. Panic choked us. Deborah wanted to flee. We can say it is a coincidence. She hissed. But Sheila was unraveling. Rick will tell Alvin. She cried. He will tell everyone. I drove to Leo's, demanding he take the bracelet back. He leaned in his doorway, shirtless, smirking. You took risks, he said. Now you pay. That night, I stared at Alvin's sleeping face. Tell him I thought. End this. But fear sealed my lips. The next morning, Sheila's car idled outside my house. Her face was pale. Rick found Leo's number, she whispered. He is going to his house. Now. We raced to Leo Street. Rick's truck was parked crookedly. Shouts echoed from inside. Sheila collapsed against her steering wheel. It is over, she moaned. But Leo emerged minutes later, unharmed, smirking. Rick stormed out, face red. No proof. Leo called after him. You are paranoid. Rick sped away. Leo winked at our car. Deborah exhaled. We are safe. But Sheila was crying. Rick will divorce me. He knows. I drove home, numb. Alvin was waiting, arms crossed. Where were you? Deborah needed help, I lied. He stepped closer. I called Deborah. She said she was home all day. The room tilted. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. Alvin's eyes turned to stone. Who is Leo? The truth was a wildfire. It burned everything. Alvin stood frozen when I confessed. His face turned gray, as if my words had sucked the life from him. I told him about Leo, the meetings, the lies. I did not mention Sheila or Deborah. They had their own fires to put out. Alvin did not yell. He did not cry. He packed a suitcase and left. The silence in our empty house screamed louder than any argument. Sheila called the next day. Rick had filed for divorce. She sobbed, blaming me. You should have stopped us. She screamed. I hung up. Guilt was a heavy coat I could not remove. Deborah vanished. Her husband posted online about a family emergency, but we all knew. Her house sold in weeks. She did not say goodbye. I begged Alvin to come home. He agreed to therapy, but his eyes were dead. I do not know you, he said. Our therapist spoke of trust, but trust was ashes. Leo disappeared too. No warning. Just a note in my mailbox. Secrets never stay buried. His house emptied overnight. Neighbors whispered, but I did not care. I scrubbed his cologne from my memory. Months passed. Alvin slept in the guest room. We spoke in polite fragments. Pass the salt. The bill is due. Emily asked why Daddy was so quiet. I lied. Again. Then one trash day, I saw Sheila's garbage can tipped over. A pink box peeked out. Pregnancy test wrappers. 3 of them. My breath caught. Sheila had always claimed she was sterile. A car accident years ago, she had said. But the expiration dates on the boxes were recent. Confronting her was easy. She answered the door in sweatpants, her eyes hollow. Why? I asked, holding up the wrappers. She laughed, bitter and broken. Rick wanted kids. I wanted him to stay. She had lied to us all, to herself. The tests were negative, but the lie was real. I told Alvin that night, not to hurt him, to prove I could be honest. He stared at me, then left for a drive. He did not come back until dawn. Now I sit on our patio, watching the sunrise. Alvin joins me, coffee in hand. We do not speak. The silence is different now. Not empty. Full of things unsaid, but maybe not unforgivable. Sheila moved to Nevada. Deborah sends postcards with no return address. Leo is a ghost. Emily graduates next week. She wants us all to take a photo together. Alvin says yes. I am learning that some fires clear the way for new growth. It is slow. It is painful. But it is not the end. To the viewers and listeners, what would you do in Thelma's situation? Could you rebuild trust after such betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story gripped you, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more twisted tales of love, secrets, and consequences. Your support helps us bring you deeper into the shadows of the human heart. Stay tuned.